They move fast,
New York's one of the most powerful cities in the world, a symbol of wealth, ambition, and opportunity. But beneath its dazzling skyline lies a crisis few dare to confront. Homelessness is not just a statistic here, it's a brutal reality etched into the streets, hidden in the shadows of luxury high-rises. But what if I told you that this crisis is more than just an economic issue? That behind every struggling soul on the street, there's a story, one of survival, desperation, and, in some cases, crime.
Yeah, he's waking up. They've given him Narcan.
Yeah. Okay.
When people are pushed to the edge, when society turns its back, some will do anything to survive. What really happens when a city runs out of options? Stay with me, because the truth may be more shocking than you think. Number 1. The hidden crisis within a global superpower. Despite its status as a global economic and cultural powerhouse, the United States grapples with profound social challenges, notably homelessness. New York City, emblematic of American prosperity, is confronting its most severe homelessness crisis since the Great Depression of the 1930s. As of December 2024, over 140,000 individuals sought refuge in New York City's shelters each night, with thousands more enduring the harsh realities of street life or relying on the goodwill of friends and family. Alarmingly, the number of homeless children has more than doubled, soaring from 20,299 in 2022 to 50,773 in 2024. This surge has disproportionately affected Hispanic and Black communities, with Hispanics comprising 55.5% of the homeless population in 2024, up from 33.7% in 2021. Several factors have converged to exacerbate this crisis. The city's affordable housing shortage is a significant contributor, with median rents escalating by 75% between 2000 and 2012, far outpacing income growth. This disparity has rendered housing unattainable for many, leading to overcrowded living conditions and increased evictions. Additionally, the influx of asylum seekers has strained the shelter system, with New York State experiencing a 53.1% increase in homelessness from January 2023 to January 2024, a rate more than 4 times the national average. In response, city officials have initiated measures to address the escalating crisis. In January 2025, Mayor Eric Adams unveiled a $650 million plan aimed at supporting mentally ill and homeless residents. This 5-year initiative includes the development of new treatment facilities and the addition of 900 safe haven beds. Furthermore, the city has embarked on converting underutilized office spaces into residential units, exemplified by the transformation of 25 Water Street, as part of a broader strategy to add 80,000 housing units over 15 years. While these efforts signify a commitment to tackling homelessness, the complexity and scale of the issue necessitates sustained and multifaceted approaches. Addressing systemic inequalities, expanding affordable housing, and providing comprehensive support services are essential steps toward ensuring that all New Yorkers have access to safe and stable housing. Number 2. The true scale of New York's homeless crisis. Over the past 2 decades, New York City has witnessed a staggering 175% surge in homelessness. This crisis saw a temporary reprieve during the COVID-19 pandemic, as eviction moratoriums and emergency rental assistance led to a 25% reduction in homelessness. However, following the lifting of these protections, the numbers have escalated once more. As of December 2024, over 140,000 individuals sought shelter each night, with thousands more enduring the streets or doubling up in overcrowded homes. Alarmingly, families and children are disproportionately affected, comprising 71% of the sheltered homeless population. This includes approximately 45,852 children, highlighting the vulnerability of young New Yorkers in this crisis. A significant contributor to this issue is the plight of low-income workers. Despite maintaining employment, many find it impossible to afford the city's escalating rents. In 2022, nearly 39% of New York households were burdened by housing costs, spending over 30% of their income on housing. This financial strain leaves them teetering on the brink of homelessness, even with a steady paycheck. The convergence of these factors underscores the urgent need for comprehensive solutions. Addressing affordable housing shortages, implementing robust tenant protections, and providing targeted support for vulnerable populations are critical steps toward mitigating this escalating crisis. Number 3. Top 10 cities in New York struggling with the worst homelessness rates. Homelessness remains a persistent and pressing issue across New York State, with certain cities facing significantly high numbers of unhoused individuals. Economic downturns, soaring rental costs, and a lack of affordable housing continue to fuel the crisis. Below, we explore the 10 cities in New York grappling with the highest homelessness rates and the unique challenges they face. 1. Syracuse, struggles of veterans and limited resources. Syracuse has a relatively low number of homeless individuals, with estimates ranging from 25 to 30 people. However, a significant portion of them are military veterans struggling to reintegrate into civilian life due to mental health challenges, job scarcity, and inadequate support systems. Programs like Housing First aim to provide immediate housing, but limited funding and bureaucratic red tape have hindered widespread implementation. The lack of permanent supportive housing further exacerbates the problem. 2. Staten Island, under the radar but struggling. Despite its lower population density, Staten Island has at least 26 homeless individuals, a number that often receives little attention. To address this, 3 new shelters have recently been established. Van Duzer Street provides emergency housing for up to 500 individuals. Island Boulevard, a women's shelter accommodating 50 residents. Tompkins Avenue houses 100 people, offering transitional support services. Nonprofit organizations like People's Path play a crucial role in providing essential support, including food distribution, job placement assistance, and healthcare access. However, sustaining these programs remains a challenge due to financial constraints. 3. Albany, the capital's housing crisis. Albany, as the state capital, has approximately 750 homeless individuals. The combination of skyrocketing living costs and an insufficient supply of affordable housing has intensified the crisis. The Albany Project Hope initiative offers rapid assistance, but its effectiveness is limited by budget restrictions. Many homeless individuals, including families, struggle to find stable living arrangements, forcing them into temporary shelters that are often at full capacity. 4. Rochester, displacement and lack of planning. Rochester's homeless population is estimated at 883, with many living in makeshift encampments like Peace Village. However, recent crackdowns have led to these settlements being dismantled, often without clear plans for relocation or housing alternatives. Insufficient funding, mismanagement of available resources, and a lack of comprehensive strategy have left many without viable housing solutions. 5. Brooklyn. The price of urban growth. Brooklyn is home to 1,157 homeless individuals. Rapid urban development, increasing gentrification, and rising rent costs have displaced numerous low-income residents. Resistance from communities in Bensonhurst and Sunset Park has prevented the construction of additional shelters, leading to an upsurge in unauthorized encampments. Public safety concerns have also risen, with discarded needles and waste frequently found on sidewalks, further complicating the crisis. 6. Queens. Working but homeless. With 1,219 reported homeless individuals, Queens exemplifies a growing trend. Many of its unhoused residents are employed but unable to afford skyrocketing rents. Asylum centers in Community Districts 1 and 12 have stirred controversy, and areas around Jamaica Station have become nighttime refuges for many. Despite the economic prosperity of the borough, an increasing number of individuals and families remain without stable housing. 7. Buffalo. Harsh winters and economic decline. Buffalo faces one of the most severe homelessness crises in the state, with approximately 1,432 people lacking permanent housing. The decline of industrial jobs, rising unemployment rates, and extreme winter conditions have made survival particularly difficult. The city is in urgent need of expanded emergency shelters and affordable housing projects. The Bronx. Generational homelessness. With 1,458 homeless individuals, the Bronx has the highest poverty rate in New York City, contributing to a cycle of generational homelessness. Overcrowded shelters frequently turn people away, leaving many to sleep on the streets or in abandoned buildings. Despite efforts to improve housing conditions, many long-term solutions remain out of reach, and the borough continues to struggle with deeply entrenched economic hardships. 9. Manhattan, a crisis in plain sight. Exceeding 4,000 homeless individuals, Manhattan has some of the most visible signs of homelessness. Subway stations, public parks, and busy streets have become shelters for thousands. Efforts like street cleaning campaigns offer only temporary relief without addressing the root causes. Some of the homeless population has formed underground communities near the Hudson River, showcasing the desperate need for sustainable housing and support programs. A system overwhelmed. New York City as a whole is facing a homelessness crisis of historic proportions. Each night, over 4,140 people sleep on the streets, while 150,000 individuals reside in shelters that are operating well beyond their intended capacity. In addition, an estimated 5,000 to 25,000 people known as mole people have taken refuge in the subway system. One of the greatest challenges in expanding public housing is the resistance from affluent neighborhoods, where communities actively oppose new shelter construction. Without broader support and aggressive policy changes, homelessness in New York City will likely continue to rise. Solving homelessness in these cities will require a multifaceted approach, including increased funding for emergency and long-term housing projects, more community engagement to foster acceptance of shelters in all neighborhoods, expanded mental health services and job training to help people regain stability, stronger tenant protections to prevent unfair evictions and rent hikes. Addressing this crisis demands collaboration between government agencies, nonprofits, businesses, and local communities. Only with a unified effort can we provide the necessary support and create lasting solutions to homelessness in New York. Number 4. Government and community efforts to tackle the crisis. The Housing First model emphasizes providing permanent housing to individuals experiencing homelessness before addressing ancillary challenges. This approach has consistently demonstrated superior outcomes compared to traditional methods. A comprehensive review of over 20 studies revealed that Housing First programs not only reduce homelessness, but also enhance housing stability and improve participants' quality of life. Notably, These programs have been associated with decreased hospitalizations and emergency department visits, underscoring their efficacy in promoting overall well-being. In Albany's Project Hope, Housing Opportunities Expanded serves as a critical lifeline, offering rapid assistance to those in need. Staffed by dedicated professionals including a part-time case manager and a full-time housing navigator, the program employs a harm reduction principles. Despite its impactful work, Project Hope faces significant financial limitations, which restrict its capacity to deliver comprehensive services. This financial strain highlights the pressing need for increased funding to sustain and expand such vital initiatives. Nonprofit organizations are indispensable in addressing homelessness, often filling service gaps left by public programs. In Staten Island, for instance, People's Path, Inc. provides emergency housing alongside supportive services such as job training and intensive case management. These efforts are crucial in assisting individuals to regain stability and independence. However, like many nonprofits, People's Path contends with financial challenges that limit the scope and reach of their services, underscoring the need for sustained community support and funding. The involvement of community members and local businesses is pivotal in combating homelessness. Many contribute by donating food, clothing, and offering employment opportunities to those in need. However, initiatives to establish new shelters or supportive housing often encounter resistance from residents concerned about potential neighborhood impact. This opposition can impede the expansion of essential services, highlighting the necessity for community education and engagement to foster understanding and support for homelessness solutions. Collectively, these efforts demonstrate that while significant strides are being made, a collaborative and well-funded approach is essential to effectively address homelessness. By integrating proven housing models, bolstering nonprofit capacities, and fostering community involvement, we can work towards sustainable solutions that not only provide shelter, but also restore dignity and hope to those affected. Number 5. Long-term solutions to address the crisis. In her 2025 State of the State address, Governor Kathy Hochul unveiled an ambitious, multifaceted strategy aimed at tackling New York's housing crisis and ensuring economic stability for its residents. Recognizing the urgent need for affordable housing, Governor Hochul has committed $100 million to the Pro-Housing Community Program, an initiative designed to support critical housing infrastructure projects across the state. This funding will assist municipalities in upgrading essential infrastructure such as water systems, roads, and public transit to facilitate the construction of new housing units, thereby eliminating development bottlenecks and streamlining the process of increasing the housing supply. To further encourage diverse and inclusive housing solutions beyond New York City, Governor Hochul has introduced the state's first-ever revolving loan fund. This fund will provide financial assistance to developers aiming to create mixed-wrinkle rental communities, bridging the gap between public and private investment. The objective is to ensure that middle and low-flowing families have access to stable, high-quality housing options in suburban and upstate regions. In an effort to protect tenants from unjust rent hikes and potential eviction, Governor Hochul has proposed new anti-collusion legislation targeting landlords who engage in rent price fixing. Under this law, landlords found guilty of conspiring to artificially inflate rents will face substantial fines and legal action. This measure seeks to foster a more transparent and fair housing market, ensuring that rental prices remain within reach for working-class and vulnerable populations. Complementing these housing initiatives, Governor Hochul is addressing another critical issue affecting low-income and uninsured individuals: the shortage of qualified behavioral health professionals. In January 2025, New York City released a comprehensive report outlining the urgent need for a robust and diverse behavioral health workforce, particularly in public sector services that cater to vulnerable populations. The report emphasizes the necessity of restructuring the city's approach to mental health services by increasing funding for behavioral health training programs, expanding access to mental health services in underserved areas, and providing incentives such as loan forgiveness and housing stipends for professionals entering the public health sector. By addressing these workforce shortages, New York aims to improve mental health outcomes and ensure that essential services remain accessible to all residents, particularly those at risk of homelessness. In alignment with the state's efforts, the New York City Council has secured $5 billion in funding for its ambitious City for All housing plan, an initiative that complements the broader Zoning for Housing Opportunity amendment. This substantial investment is designed to increase the availability of affordable housing units, provide additional support for low-income homeowners and renters, address the growing homelessness crisis by expanding transitional and supportive housing programs, and encourage private sector investment in new housing projects. By integrating these initiatives, New York is taking decisive action to address the root causes of homelessness and housing instability. The combined efforts of government investment, tenant protections, mental health service expansion, and economic incentives aim to create a more sustainable and equitable housing landscape for all New Yorkers. While these measures represent significant progress, sustained community support, private sector engagement, and ongoing policy enhancements will be essential in ensuring their long-term success. As the state moves forward, policymakers, advocacy groups, and residents must continue to collaborate to build a New York where housing is truly accessible to everyone. New York's homelessness crisis is a stark reminder that even the most powerful cities in the world face deep-rooted social challenges. From skyrocketing housing costs and economic disparities to systemic failures in mental health and support services, the struggle for stable shelter affects thousands of individuals and families every night. While government initiatives and community efforts are making strides, the road to lasting solutions requires unwavering commitment, innovative policies, and collective action. As we explore cities and cultures around the world, it's essential to shed light on the human stories behind the statistics, because understanding the crisis is the first step toward meaningful change. If you found this video insightful, consider supporting NVL Travel Documentary by liking, subscribing, and sharing your thoughts in the comments. Your engagement helps us bring more untold stories to light. See you in the next adventure.